Hey everyone, RJ here. I've been investing full time for a very long time. However, I am not a financial advisor. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions. Alright, here's the deal with AMD. Let's cut straight to it because there's a lot of noise out there, and sometimes it feels like everyone's so caught up with the Nvidia hype train that AMD just gets overlooked. Trust me, I know. I've made few videos on Nvidia. But if you're looking closely, if you really understand what's going on, you'll see AMD isn't just playing catch up. They're quietly positioning themselves to be a real contender. And that's the story we can't ignore. Now, before we dive into the details, let's start with a simple reality check. Everybody's talking about NVIDIA like it's the end all be all of the AI revolution. Sure, NVIDIA has been dominating the conversation, especially around AI and GPUs. No doubt about it. Their stock's been soaring, riding high on the wave of AI enthusiasm. But AMD has been quietly down about 30% from its all-time high, which honestly is why this is the perfect time to look at the stock. While Nvidia's been taking the lion's share of AI spending, especially when it comes to GPUs, the truth is that the hype around generative AI is starting to cool off. We're starting to see that AI isn't the silver bullet for everyone. CPUs, the good old traditional workhorses, are still very much in demand. And guess who's dominating that space? AMD. Nvidia may be the flashy option, but AMD has been away at Intel's server market share, and they're still very much in the game. I mean, let's not pretend like AMD's just sitting on the sidelines. In the last few years, they've made some real smart moves. Like I mentioned in my other videos, they acquired ZT Systems and Silo AI, which is pushing them further into the AI conversation. They might not have Nvidia's CUDA moat, but they're building out their own solutions that are starting to catch the attention of serious players. And here's something else that people might not realize has some pretty big limitations. NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen, even admitted that CPUs are still going to be essential for a lot of computing tasks. He talked about this 1T and 100T thing. Basically, GPUs will do most of the heavy lifting, but CPUs are still needed for sequential tasks. Think of things like operating systems and control logic. It's not glamorous, but it's necessary. AMD is perfectly positioned to meet that need. Let's also talk about the real value here, because I hear a lot of folks saying AMD is expensive based on their forward price to earnings ratio. But if you dig a little deeper, there's a different story. AMD is reasonably valued if you look at things comprehensively. Their CPUs are still in high demand, and their MI300A superchips, which combine CPU and GPU architecture, is already finding its way into some massive projects like El Captain and HPE Cray EX. That's not small. Here's where AMD really stands to benefit. Nvidia's been charging a premium for its hardware. No shocker there, it's worth it. But with these sky-high prices, companies are starting to look around for more cost-effective options, a way to save some cash. That's where AMD's experience really comes in. They've been in the CPU game for decades, and they've been eating away at Intel's market share, like I said, little by little. I create another video on why I hate Intel so much, but I digress. And while Nvidia's out there pushing its super expensive Grasshopper chip, AMD's doing the same thing with the MI300A at a better price point. That's how you compete. It's not about outflashing Nvidia. It's about providing solid, cost-effective solutions and still get the job done. And when companies start tightening their belts, AMD is going to look a lot more appealing. Now, I'm not saying AMD is going to totally overtake Nvidia in the AI race overnight. It's far from what I'm saying. Nvidia's got a strong lead, and their CUDA software ecosystem is no joke. But AMD is making progress on their software front too. Their Rock M platform is picking up steam, and while it's still got some catching up to do, the momentum is there. Lisa Su, the CEO, has been pretty vocal about this, and the customer response to their roadmap has been overwhelmingly positive. And remember, AMD's CPU business isn't slowing down either. On their last earnings call, they talked about how Netflix and Uber and even Adobe have been picking up their CPUs for mission-critical workloads. That's a big deal. We're talking about companies that don't make these kinds of decisions lightly. If AMD's CPU are good enough for Netflix, you better believe they're going to be good enough for a lot of businesses too. Here's the bottom line. Generative AI isn't replacing everything overnight. There's still a huge demand for traditional computing, and AMD CPUs are going to fill that gap for a long time. And yeah, AI will keep evolving. But it's not like everyone's going to suddenly throw out their old systems and jump straight to AI powered everything. That's just not how things work. On top of that, AMD's positioned perfectly to capitalize on both ends of the spectrum. They've got the CPUs for traditional workloads, and then they got the GPUs to handle the AI when companies are ready to make that jump. And let's not forget, they're doing this at a fraction of Nvidia's price. And here's something that people don't realize: AMD's still growing as well. Their data center revenue shot up 115% year over year, which is massive, especially when you consider the kind of competition they're up against. Sure, Nvidia is still leading the charge in terms of overall revenue, but AMD's catching up, and they're catching up pretty fast. Don't get me wrong, there are risks, like I always say in my videos. AMD's immune to competition, and Intel's still a big player in the CPU market. Plus, there are rising AI startups like Grok that are also trying to carve out a niche. But here's the thing: AMD has already proven it can go toe to toe with the giants, and they've been doing it for years. They've got the track record. So, yeah, Nvidia might be the darling of the AI world right now, but AMD is not going anywhere. In fact, they're just getting started as well. If you're looking for a stock that's well positioned for both today's computing needs and tomorrow's AI revolution, AMD is the one to watch. It's undervalued, it's got solid growth prospects, and it's not getting the attention it deserves right now. And that's exactly why this is the time to take a closer look. There's no denying that the GPUs are the future, but don't sleep on CPUs, and definitely don't sleep on AMD. They're not just surviving in Nvidia's shadow, they're quietly building something that could take a lot of people by surprise. That's it, guys. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and check out my other videos.